Of the first 7 wonders of the world, just a single actually endures today: the incomparable Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. The remaining 6 have all been demolished since the 2nd century BC. The Temple of Artemis can still be seen today in Turkey. Most or parts of the Beacon of Alexandria and the Catacomb at Halicarnassus, made due for over 1,000 years after the underlying rundown of the 7 marvels started to circle. In any case, various somewhat precise drawings and portrayals exist for the overwhelming majority of the miracles subsequently. In any case, the most puzzling of the 7 antiquated ponders is the balancing nurseries of Babylon, supposed to have existed about quite a while back. No protected Babylonian works from that time notice the nurseries. Researchers today just estimate where they existed and how they could have showed up, in view of students of history who later cited observer accounts. A few scientists are torn on whether they were situated in the city of Babylon itself or Nineveh, an old Assyrian city. Others question the actual presence of the world miracle, accepting it could have just existed in the whimsical minds of Greek authors. The most well-known anecdote about the hanging nurseries includes the renowned Babylonian ruler Nebuchadnezzar II and his sovereign Amytis, who moved from the nation of Media, arranged pretty much in cutting-edge Azerbaijan and Kurdistan. Since Babylon was a for the most part parched place, the sovereign evidently missed the nurseries and vegetation of her country. One of the most seasoned notices of the nurseries is ascribed to the 3rd century BC Babylonian cleric Berossus. Unique compositions from Berossus haven't made due, yet Laurie Pierce, an Assyriologist at the College of California, Berkeley, says that his works were cited by Greek history specialists after his transition to Kos, an island off the shoreline of Turkey in advanced Greece. Flavius Josephus, a Roman historian from the 1st century, was one of his readers. He quoted Berossus as saying that Babylon had walls that had a pensile, or hanging paradise with many different kinds of trees. Nebuchadnezzar made the possibility look exactly like a mountainous country. Josephus quotes Berossus in his book Against Apion as saying, "This he did to gratify his queen because she had been raised in Media and was fond of a mountainous situation." While the story sounds decent, Josephus's depiction is one of the main, semi-believable records we have that specifies Nebuchadnezzar by any means. A portion of the other, most seasoned depictions of the nurseries notice they were worked by a Syrian lord, yet none expound on how or why it began. According to Josephus, stone pillars supported high walls. In the meantime, another 1st century BC Greek student of history, Diodorus Siculus, cited significantly more established Greek observers from the 4th century BC. Diodorus's depiction included a few porches with vaults. Consider a sort of old parking structure constructed generally looking like a pyramid or ziggurat, utilizing the speech of the times. Water was taken from the stream, perhaps utilizing siphons. Strabo, a Greek geographer brought into the world in the 1st century BC, may likewise have been depending on before works and gossip when he depicted in Babylon vaulted porches with empty 3D square molded support points loaded up with soil to hold the foundations of bigger trees. You could climb the porches by steps that had water motors close by, bringing water up from the Euphrates. The entire thing was a quadrangular pyramid of prepared block, an arena in level, and every one of the sides an arena long, he writes in his Geology. In the event that the Josephus account is precise, the actual nurseries might have been worked along one of the castle walls. There are spots where the walls are 6 meters thick, Pierce says. Other than the fact that the Josephus account mentions a variety of tree species, it is difficult to determine what kind of plants might have been in these gardens. However, Pierce says that one enduring rundown of plants that probably showed up in the nurseries of Babylonian lords included things like garlic, onion, fenugreek, coriander, dill, and different spices. It's additionally conceivable, she says, that trees included cedars and different things tracked down in the bigger district. In all actuality, we truly don't have any idea what the hanging nurseries could have resembled, given the divided idea of the verifiable record. The absence of any strong archaeological proof has persuaded a few researchers to think that the nurseries didn't exist by any stretch of the imagination, that they were simply a fantasy of old Greek personalities and legend. In any case, a few researchers are contemptuous of this take. That is an inept cop-out, truth be told, says Stephanie Daly, an Assyriologist at the College of Oxford. It doesn't seem okay to say we were unable to track down it, so it didn't exist. Daly accepts the draping nurseries of Babylon were really the balancing nurseries of Nineveh, an Assyrian city some of the time called Babylon in verifiable texts. One piece of expected proof for this comes from Diodorus. He claimed in his writing that the gardens were constructed by Semiramis, a renowned Assyrian queen. The verifiable Assyrian sovereign from whom Semiramis's name is adjusted likely could never have fabricated things in Babylon, Pierce notes. While the actual presence of Semiramis is discussed, the Assyrian ruler Sennacherib, who managed beginning in 704 BC, had broad nurseries at his castle in Nineveh, and the designing to water them, verifiable records show. One enduring cutting from a royal residence at Nineveh portrays gardens and a waterway. Sennacherib's grandson Ashurbanipal likewise kept a zoo with creatures brought from around the domain. In any case, Pierce isn't completely persuaded the nurseries were at Nineveh. Nineveh was obliterated by an alliance of Babylonian and Middle powers in 612 BC, she says. It's conceivable that the nurseries were still there in some structure, assuming that hypothesis is right, yet they could never have been kept up with any longer past that point. There were miles of walls worked around the city of Babylon, in the event that not the royal residence, and a significant number of them are huge enough that they might have upheld the sort of terracing numerous old students of history referenced. It's not improbable that they were there, Pierce says. With no sureness about the area, obviously it's hazy when the nurseries were annihilated and by whom. However, Strabo's old record portrays gardens that were in ruins toward the finish of the 1st century BC. His works recommends that Alexander the Incomparable needed to fix the hanging nurseries, however kicked the bucket before he could execute the arrangement. Strabo wrote, "None of the people who succeeded attended to this undertaking." From that point forward, the open door to find the hanging nurseries might have shut. Pierce asserts that any surviving ruins may now be submerged as a result of the Euphrates River's course shifting thousands of years after Alexander.